And we are back with the third segment of the GSMC Basketball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. And in this third segment, we are going to be talking about a little recap of the NBA games that happened last night, because there were a lot of important ones. I already mentioned how the Bucks beat the Clippers last night, 113-106, and how James Harden and Paul George, they had a great game. But one thing that really stood out for me in this game that I didn't really mention was how the Bucks ended up outscoring the Clippers 40-25 in the fourth quarter. So, again, like the Clippers, they just can't seem to close out games. This was a problem when they played against the Lakers, and it's a problem going against the Bucks. They can, without Giannis, they cannot close out games. So imagine what happens when they go into the playoffs. How are they going to close out these close games if they cannot do that in the regular season? That is something for you guys to answer. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If the Clippers are going to forget about their little problems being unable to close out games and actually be able to do something in the postseason. But other than that game, let's talk about the other LA team, which is everyone's favorite topic to talk about, LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers. They ended up beating the Oklahoma City Thunder again. This time they won 116-104. The Lakers are very, very confusing. They are a very confusing team, and so is the Oklahoma City Thunder. For one, I can't take either team seriously. Like, the Lakers, they lose to, some bum teams, some really bad teams, and then they win against really good teams. And the Thunder, they win against really good teams as well, but then they, lost to the Pistons that one time, and then they lose to, a bunch of games where they shouldn't lose, like this one right here. And LeBron James, he didn't even play all that well in this game. I mean, he didn't have 20 points, but that doesn't mean he played bad, I will say. He ended the game with 19 points, 7 for 14 from the field, with 11 rebounds and 8 assists. Obviously, he still didn't. That's not bad. I'm not saying that LeBron played bad, but usually when LeBron wins, he has to end up getting 30-plus points or 25-plus points in order for the Lakers to stand a chance. But so far, it really looks like that the rest of this team has sort of come through. D'Angelo Russell was phenomenal in this game. He ended with 26 points, was leading all the Lakers in scoring, 9 for 17 from the field, 5 for 11 from 3. Anthony Davis ended the game with 24 and 12 on 7 of 12 shooting. Not bad, but again, not as dominant as I expect from someone whose name is Anthony Davis. And they ended up winning, sure, but it's come on now. He needs to be a lot more dominant if they are expected to do anything in the postseason. Roy Hachimura, he didn't have a great game tonight, only 3 of 8 from the field with 7 points, but not really expecting him to really do much as I expect LeBron, AD, and D'Lo to do much. Austin Reeves has been pretty consistent so far coming out of the All-Star break. He's been 6 of 8 from the field, 4 of 5 from 3, 16 points. And Spencer Dinwiddie, he ended the game with 2 points, 1 for 4. And he played 24 minutes. Why is he playing so long if he's only going to score 2 points? Why? Does not make any sense. If you're going to use him that way and not make him a 20-point-per-game scorer, why is he playing so many minutes? He's just wasting everyone's time. And I don't mean to be, disrespectful or, mean or anything, but, that's what the numbers are showing. 1 for 4 from the field, I'm sorry, but, that only hurts your team, especially when you're playing 24 minutes. You're just running back and forth, jogging. And it's not like he did, he had other good stats and, in rebounds or assists. No, he only ended with 2 rebounds and 3 assists. That's not going to help them. And on the Thunder side, Shai didn't end the game with his signature 31 points, which is honestly probably why this team wasn't as close to beating the Lakers as they normally would. Chet ended the game with 15 points on 6 for 14 from the field. If he was such a good Rookie of the Year candidate, then he would definitely impact these guys in wins, but it doesn't really look like he's doing that. It's almost like the Oklahoma City Thunder have an MVP candidate, and that's why they've been winning a bunch of games. I don't understand the argument for putting Chet in Rookie of the Year. Like, yes, I understand that the Thunder are winning games, but it's not because of Chet, it's because of Shai. Shai is literally an MVP candidate. Like, what the hell is the matter with people? But I digress on that point. And Chet, Chet and Shai, they were the only people that really did something in this game. Lou Dort ended the game with 15 points. So obviously, if he's going to be your your second leading scorer, and he's not even a scorer, that's a big problem for OKC. He shot relatively efficient too from three. He went 5 of 7 from the field. But with this game out of the way, let's go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off, and let's talk about the Memphis Grizzlies beating my Brooklyn Nets. So far, this Brooklyn Nets team it's really putting me through it. I gotta say, they're really testing my patience with these guys. They're really testing my patience. They had 2 great wins against the Hawks, but the Hawks they didn't have Trae Young in either of those games. And it's okay, we were able to beat them, but they didn't even have their best player. So it's how do we know that we wouldn't have lost, that the Nets wouldn't have lost those games if it weren't for that? And they lost this game right here to the Grizzlies, and the Grizzlies are not a good team. They are not the best team. Claxton was the best player, and he shot the most efficient. You know it's a problem when the guy who can't shoot shoots the most efficient on your team. He ended the game with 21 points. Cam Johnson ended the game 6 of 15 from the field, 3 of 10 from 3. Mikal Bridges ended the game 4 of 14 from the field, and 2 of 8 from 3. Dennis Schroeder, 5 of 13 from the field, and 2 of 7 from 3. That is just phenomenal work from the Nets right there. Phenomenal. That is totally going to have us winning these games. And of course, guess who didn't play? Ben Simmons. Of course he didn't play. Why would he play? What does it matter if he plays, right? He's not a basketball player. It's not like he's 6'10". Jeez. The Grizzlies, they absolutely, again, it was a close game, but it doesn't matter. The Nets, I'm moving on because I seriously cannot talk about this game. Now we go up against Minnesota beating Portland yet again. They always beat Portland. It's really no contest. Portland, well, they did have a great performance from Simmons, not Ben Simmons, Fernie Simmons. He ended the game with 34 points and 14 assists. It wasn't enough to beat the Timberwolves, and with all of their scoring. And Anthony Edwards, he came off the bench this game because he showed up late. Kind of funny. He ended the game with 13 points. Not very good. And he shot 40% from the field, 4 of 10. So Rudy Gobert was actually the leading scorer of the Timberwolves, which is a very rare sight to see. Ended the game with 25 points, hit all of his free throws, and went 9 of 10 from the field. So a very good game coming in from Rudy Gobert. Karl Anthony Towns was inefficient, 5 of 12. Mike Conley was also a little bit inefficient, 6 of 13. 2 of 6 from 3 in particular is what I was talking about. 2 of 6 and 0 for 3 between Mike Conley and Karl Anthony Towns. So obviously, their three-point shooting definitely needs to improve if they are expected to do much in the playoffs. And the last time that they were in the playoffs, I remember they blew 2 20-point leads, and it's really not something that you want from a team. So with their playoff resume in mind, I'm not entirely sure if they're going to be one and done this year, but I wouldn't put it past them to be one and done. Now, obviously, the fact that it was a close game going against Portland is also very concerning. The next game that I actually brought this game up in a short. There was a pool party over at Utah. Jordan Poole, he opened up the Wizards game going up against the Utah Jazz, going 8 for 8 from the field, and he ended the half going 8 for 9 from the field with 23 points, I believe. But after that, the Utah Jazz at the halftime were all right, the pool party's canceled. And after the half, he ended up going, let's do some quick math right here, 3 of 9. After the pool party, he ended up going 3 of 9 and ended up missing every single one of his threes. So, fantastic for Jordan Poole, am I right? He got his first few seconds in the spotlight, and now he's back to being Jordan Poole. Now, does this mean that the Wizards should put him back in the starting lineup? No. It doesn't matter where you put Jordan Poole. He's still going to make your team lose because of his terrible shot selection, his ego, and his style of play. I'm not a big fan of Jordan Poole, if you guys could not tell. Players that have an ego like that and don't play like their ego tells them to play, like their ego says they can play, not a big fan of it. You got to be able to walk the walk if you're going to talk the talk. And the Utah Jazz, they're in a rebuild state right now. So the fact that this rebuilding team was able to beat the Wizards just shows how bad this Wizards team really is with Jordan Poole. And Colin Sexton ended the game with 29 points in 34 minutes with 7 assists as well. Was without a doubt the best player on the floor. And Jordan Clarkson off of the bench ended the game with 38 points and 10 rebounds. So it really just shows that the Wizards, their defense is so bad they can't even guard a parked car. It is really bad how, their defense. And we're running out of time in this segment, so I'm going to go ahead and speed run some of this stuff. Oh, there's only one game that was being played left. The Chicago Bulls, they ended up beating the Sacramento Kings. Now, this is a very surprising loss for the Kings. And the Kings, they moved down to the play-in. They play the Lakers tomorrow, so we'll see exactly what their position in the Western Conference really is. But losing to the Bulls is not ideal. It's definitely not something that they want. Kobe White has been phenomenal. He scored 37 points. Has an argument for being most improved player of the year as well. Let's see. Ayo Dosunmu, again, forgive me if I botched that last name. He ended the game with 20 points, and DeMar DeRozan ended the game with 33 points. So, and DeMar DeRozan shot 10 for 12 from the field. If they play like this every single game, they're going to be a great team. If they play like this every single game, but it's just the Bulls are not consistent enough to be able to do that, and with that in mind, it makes me understand why Vucevic wants to keep this team together. They're in the play-in right now, and honestly, they have a good shot at beating the Pacers. As crazy as it sounds, they have a great shot at beating the Pacers because the Pacers, their defense is horrible. So, if the defense is that horrible and they allow the Bulls to make a lot of shots, which they are capable of doing, we could potentially see the Pacers getting knocked out of the first round, or even in the play-in, come to think of it, given how the Pacers are ranked 8th in the Eastern Conference. They should be a lot higher. They should be way higher in the rankings. The Magic and the Sixers shouldn't even be in these rankings right now, in the top 8 teams. But with this in mind, it's the Pacers, the fact that they're all the way down to the 8th seed is very, very disappointing, and it's all because of their defense. But with that, that's the end of the recap. We're out of time for this third segment, so tune in for the fourth segment where we talk about the NBA power rankings. I didn't talk about them yesterday because I wasn't sure if they had released, but now that they're out, we might as well go ahead and look at it yet again. So I will be right back after this short break.